what's up? AKA the Brothaman has returned. The Brothaman has returned. You see the title of the thing, how to use this DIY credit repair system. I've had thousands of people asking me about how to use this system. What's this system all about? Well, what we're going to do today, we're going to look at two things. We're going to look at what this DIY credit repair system has to offer. And we're going to look at, in particular, we're going to look at two things. We're going to use an example to create a identity dispute letter and how to create a verification letter. Identity dispute letter, verification letter. I'm going to use those two examples to show you how simple this process is and how anybody could do it. And we're going to use the example of a Joe consumer. This is not a real person. This is just a sample of what your credit report might look like and how you can fill out these dispute letters. You know, I had on TikTok, they get mad at me every time I show John consumer because they think it's a real person. So somebody gets mad at me or whatever. But this is just a sample, and we're going to use this just so you can learn how to use this system. Now, what we're going to do, I'm going to share my screen here. We go to Opera. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at this Mycredit System here. Actually, let me show you what this Mycredit System will help you to do. Now, this system here walks you through step by step on it's a 6-step process in the Mycredit System. It teaches you how to pull your credit report, freeze your secondary bureaus, how to identify errors, and start the dispute process. Step 5, you get video training and step-by-step training on how to do these things, how to lower your credit utilization and build good credit moving forward. So you get video training on how to do this. You get all the forms you need to dispute inaccurate data, unverifiable data, and out of statute limitations data. You can dispute all that using all the forms that are provided with this system. We're going to touch on pretty much steps 1, 3, and 4. Before we get to that, I want to show you step 2. One important step when people are fixing their credit overlook is this step right here, freezing your secondary bureaus. Did you know that there are smaller companies that report to the 3 bureaus? They report personal information like public records, rental, mortgage data, student loan data, doctor bills, all sorts of stuff. They report these information to the 3 credit bureaus, and in order to basically help verify items on their credit report. But you can make your credit disputes more successful by freezing these secondary bureaus. These are the 5 biggest ones. Excuse me. These are the 5 biggest ones, and there's actually up to 50 consumer reporting agencies that, depending on your situation, you might want to check out, see what's on those reports, and do a security freeze on them as well. So I wanted to address that. That's covered in step 2 of our training, but you definitely never want to overlook this step. But now let's go to number 1. Pull your credit report. Now, where can you pull your credit report? Now, our training lists 2 websites, annualcreditreport.com and MyFICO. Annualcreditreport.com gives you for free credit reports from all 3 bureaus. Traditionally, it's been once a year. You can get it for free. Right now, you can do it once a week. I don't know much longer that's going to last, but traditionally it's once a year, but right now once a week you can get it for free. All 3 credit bureaus, you get accurate credit reports. All you do is download it to your computer, or you can print them off on your printer. I would recommend downloading it. That's up to you. You also have MyFICO. Now, MyFICO gives you the credit reports from all three bureaus, but you got to pay. Why do you have to pay? Well, because in addition to the reports, you get all of your FICO scores included with your reports. And it's a comprehensive breakdown of your FICO score. So if you want to really get down to the nitty gritty of what your credit looks like, you use MyFICO. But both sites are good. And I'm going to show you an example of what annualcreditreport.com looks like. You just come to this website, annualcreditreport.com, request your free reports. It's going to ask you some personal information. If you answer it correctly, it'll give you your free credit reports for free, and you just download them to your computer, keep for your records. All right. So now let's look at an example of a credit report. We're going to look at, let me zoom in a little bit. John Q. Consumer. Let me make sure I'm seeing the same thing you're seeing. Yes, I am. So John Q. Consumer. This is be our example. He's not a real person. It's just an example of what a credit report would look like. We have the example of an Experian credit report. And on your report, you're going to have different sections. They might be in different order. But basically, you're going to have a section for listing your personal information. It's also going to list derogatory items, or they call it potentially negative items in this report. The verbiage may be a little different, but it's going to say the same thing. Then you're going to go to your positive history, accounts in good standing, right? And then you'll go to, they'll have a section for inquiries. This says request for credit history, but inquiry, same thing. And you'll find that the bureaus, the reports will pretty much say the same thing, but they may have it worded differently, all right? And then you have a section for personal information. All right, so we're going to come back to this. Note, we're going to come back to this, and when we start to fill out our dispute letters, all right? So now the third step we're going to look at is how to identify errors. So what we're going to identify here is two things: derogatory items and inaccurate personal data. So potentially negative items. See right here, we've got three items we're going to be addressing. We're going to be addressing in our verification letter, we're going to be disputing this. I believe it's a public record, right? It's a public record with the Maine County Clerk. And then we're going to have, that's from 2012. All these are 2012 looks like. 2012 was a rough year for John Q. Consumer. Have any of y'all had a rough year, a rough patch of your life? Things just went haywire for you? This is what happened with John Q. Consumer. And this is why this system is so important, because you can go through a rough year and then you have to go back and fix some of the things that went rough. This is why this system is important. It happened to me. I had a rough year, ended up with multiple items in collections. I was able to get 5 items in collections removed using this system. I was able to improve my credit score 200 points using this system. So, you get a lot of judgment from people, and they pay your bills. You won't have to worry about it. But anybody can have a rough year. And this is what John Consumer had. He had him a rough year. 2012 was not good to John Q. Consumer. Now, and truth be told, that's 10 years ago. So John Q. Consumer disputing these items will probably get a lot of that stuff removed because it's out of statute of limitations. Those things are 7 years statute of limitations on things. The states do. Every state's different, but most things are 7 years. Even 10 years it should be done. But so John Q. Consumer is looking to have a lot of success with this DIY credit system. All right, what do you got? Public record. This is a charge-off credit card, I believe, or a loan with ABCD Banks. And then he's got a old cable bill with Maine Collection Agency. So we'll be doing that in the verification letter. And John, I looked through his accounts in good standings. He's got a lot of history there. He should be 1959, right? He's got some inquiries. We're not going to address the inquiries in this letter. A lot of inquiries are old anyway, so they're not really worth disputing for John. Not worth his time. Inquiries only hurt you for 2 years anyway. But if you get a bunch of them, that's when you start dropping your score. If you get a bunch of them in a short period of time, you can see your score drop, and then it's worth disputing. We're not going to worry about it for John Q. Consumer. Let's go to his personal information. Look at all the different ways he has spelled his name. Look at all the different ways his name is spelled. You got John Q. Consumer, Jonathan, JQ. He's got multiple addresses. We only got one employer, so and one phone number. Jane, his spouse. Why do you need to pay attention to this? Well, inaccurate information needs to come off your credit report. Old information really needs to come off of this. And because old debts and stuff like that could be, some of those collections and stuff could be tied to these old addresses. Maybe somebody got the address wrong. I mean, John Consumer is a pretty generic name, so there could be another John Consumer living at this other address, right? That this debt could be tied to, and it's hurting our boy John, hurting his credit score. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to remove these old addresses and these inaccurate spellings of his name. So for the sake of argument, we're going to assume that this here is the correct spelling of his name, and this is his current address. Phone number, even spouse. So you need to pay attention to spouse, because people get divorced, girlfriend break up, stuff like that. That stuff could show up on your credit report. So your ex-wife or ex-husband could be showing up on your credit report. If that's the case, you can dispute it. We're going to assume that Jane is still married to John here. The credit reports may show old employers, and see that the old employer might be tied to an old account that you have, so you want to get rid of it. All right. So how do we fill out? What letter do we use? Let's go to our Mycredit System here. I'm going to show you. Step 4 is a dispute process here. We've checked for errors. Now, with the dispute process, we list you the addresses of the 3 credit bureaus, but also we give you the whole list of dispute letters to use for a variety of situations. I'm not going to cover all these, but pretty much just about any situation you have, we've got a letter for it in this system. You can download it as a Word document, or you can click Create a Dispute Letter. When you create a dispute letter, it takes you to this screen here where you put in your information, pick which letter you're going to use, who you're going to send it to. You put the information in, it spits out a letter for you. So let's go ahead and do this for John Q. Consumer here. Maybe this thing will let me copy and paste. Nope, it's not going to let me do it. So, John Q. Consumer. So that was going to be the proper name, 123 Main Street. And what did we say? It was going to be, make sure I'm seeing this. Okay, good. All right. We'll go with Anytown, Maryland. It won't let me copy and paste, but that's all good. All right, Anytown, Maryland. I think it was 901. His phone number was 5. All right, date of birth. I'm gonna say 3. I'm gonna say 3/15. It was 1959, I believe. Social Security was gonna do 9s. All right. Yep. All right. Now, so what we're going to do to address this personal information, we are going to use an identity dispute letter. So select that. We're going to do this before we're going to do our main dispute letters, because we want to see if we can get some of this old and inaccurate personal data off our credit report. Now, you would do this to all 3 credit bureaus. So since the credit report we have is an Experian, that's what we're going to do. So we got this personal information here on this identity dispute letter. We're going to dispute any incorrect name, any date of birth, social, address. He only had 1 employer, so we're not going to worry about it. And then we're going to check for notary. On these dispute letters, you want to have them notarized. The credit bureaus take it more seriously when you have it notarized. See, here's the thing. A lot of people will go to a third party for credit repair letters and stuff like that. But if a credit bureau thinks that you're using a third party, they are likely to reject it or refuse it. They're not supposed to. They're not supposed to, but if they think someone else is sending your credit dispute letter, like if you go into a Lexington Law or another lawyer or something like that, if they suspect that, they'll just throw your dispute letters out. So that's why you want to get this notarized. They take the letter more seriously. They really understand. Of course, when you send these letters, you're going to send them with your ID and proof of ID. But they take it seriously when you have it notarized and realize it's you. And so they're more likely to take it seriously. If you go to a third party, they've been caught throwing out third party letters. They're not supposed to, but they've been caught doing it. They're probably going to get fined doing it. There's a senator, no, it might be a representative, a Democratic representative in Congress that's investigating for them for this, because they've been throwing out millions of people. And why? Because they think it's a third party. But you don't, when you follow our system, you avoid that. You avoid that. When you follow directions, you get results. And when you follow the directions in this training, you avoid that. All right, so went off on that tangent there. Oh, yeah, that's why we have the notary. All right, so once you get all that done, create this dispute letter. Make sure you're seeing what I'm seeing. All right, excellent. So now you got your letter, right? And so you just print it, and you follow the steps on having it notarized. You send it to Experian or whatever corresponding credit bureau, and you go from there. So you just print it there. There's something special about not printing this address on here. Usually what I'll do is I'll save it on my computer. After I create the dispute, I'll save it on my computer and then print it off. So avoid having that website on there. But anyway, and then you can actually save the letter in when you're a member of this DIY credit repair system, you can save the letter in your history log. So if you need to reprint it, you ain't got to go through this whole thing, even though it's not a lot to go through, but you don't have to go through all this. You can just go to your history and print it. All right. So that's the identity dispute letter. And so once we send that off, you got to give them 30 days to respond to that. And once you get the response, if you're able to get some of those the old personal data removed, once you hear back from them, then you will start to dispute these other items. We've got 3 items here that we're going to use a verification letter to dispute. Now, when you're disputing negative items, it can go to up to a 4-round process. Right now, I'm just going to cover the first round of this letter. because you've got the verification letter, the method of verification letter, then you got to the FCRA rights letter and the intent to litigate. Some people have to go through all 4 letters to get results, and other people get results off of just this next letter. I got results off of just this next letter. So every person's situation is different. But we're going to cover this first one. When you send this letter off, the turnaround time is 30 days from when the bureaus receive it. So when you send these letters off, any dispute letter you send, you want to send it certified mail so that you can keep track of when they received it. It's very important, because failure to respond within the specific time frames according to the law, you can send a 30-day no response letter, send a copy of your letter when they received it, and whatever you were disputing gets removed. If the bureaus don't follow the law, the items will get removed. So that's why you want to send all these letters certified mail. That's the reason why people talk about robots reading it and all that. That ain't had nothing to do with it. You send it certified mail so you can keep track of the stuff. All right, let's go to the potentially negative items. So we've got the John's, we've got his public record here. We've got his charge off and his collection. So we're going to dispute these 3. And so how do we fill out a verification letter? We're going to close that out. How do we do that? We come back to our create a dispute letter. Number 1, we could do this, credit dispute letters 1 through 5, download a working document, right? And then just fill in the blanks with our personal information, or we come to create a dispute letter, go to verification, dispute letter. Now that we already got our personal information here, excuse me, we're going to fill in the information, the name, and the account number of the items we are disputing. What's our first item? Maine County Clerk. And we're just going to copy this identification letter 1. Whatever shows up on our credit report, that's what we put. The name and the identification number. So let's go back to create a dispute letter. I'm going to put 1. What's the next one? ABCD Banks. This is our charge off. And then we've got the name. Account number is 1, followed by 6 zeros and some dots. And like I said, we're just going to copy what is on our credit report. The reason why you don't want to go fill out, you just want to copy what's on your credit report. If you give them the account number, you're making it easier for them to verify this account. Oh, wait a minute, we're on the wrong one here. What did I say? This was ABCD Banks. So you just want to copy what shows up on your credit report. Let's get this third item, the collection. I think it was something about a cable company. Main collection agencies. There's account number 0 through 9. And they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's make sure I did that correctly. It just says main coal agency, so that's what we're going to put. See, I almost messed up. Here we go, agencies. All right. Correct. Yeah. So we got the names and account numbers. Check for notary. Create dispute letters. Print it off, and you're good to go. You are good to go. So, like I said, normally I print the PDF and then print it off, or save it to my history, and then I can print it off later. However you want to do it, you just print this off, take it to the notary, sign it in front of your notary, have them document it, and then You send it to the credit bureau certified mail. What is the address of the credit bureaus? Let me just show you right here. Those are the address of the 3 credit bureaus. Now, with this letter, the verification dispute letter, turnaround time is 30 days from when they receive it. So that's why you send it certified mail, because you'll get a receipt. It's looking something like this, telling you when they received that letter. You mark 30 days from that point. If you haven't heard from them, you'll send a 30-day no response letter to get that item removed. Now, within 30 days, they'll send you a response, either saying they verified the item or they couldn't, item gets removed. If they say that they verify the item, what you would do is you would just go to the next round, which is method of verification. All right. So I just wanted to cover, that is how you use the DIY credit repair system. It's a simple process. We try to make this as simple as possible. You get video training, you get all the forms you need, all the support that you need to get results with this system. Right now, you can start access to this system for only $9.95 for the first month. It's normally $39.95, and it's $39.95 a month moving forward. But the first month is only $9.95 for those who sign up until the end of the year. $9.95 to the end of the year. First 3 days. So if you want to take advantage of this, I'm gonna put the link in the description. If you know someone that needs this, give me a like and share this with them. And if you want more content like this, you want to learn more about this stuff, feel free to subscribe. I appreciate you tuning in, and we'll talk to you later.